Good morning, welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Monday again. It is Monday, April the 13th, and we're here to look at the new releases that are published this week. And on Mondays, we look at the cozy mysteries. At least we start them. Elena says, good morning. Well, good morning. How are you doing, Elena? She says, I'm good so far. Finished 3 books from the library. Oh, you're on good track. Mary says, good morning, PK and everyone. Happy Monday. Hi, Elena. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Lena says, I'm happy that I took a day off last week. Oh, very good. Do stuff for yourself. All righty. Let's jump into the cozy mysteries. First up, this is probably Anne Perry's last before she passed away. Death Time 7, 7th in the Daniel Pitt series. 1913, junior attorney Daniel Pitt must step in for his friend, fellow attorney Toby Kittredge, whose parents have been brutally attacked. Toby's mother is dead and his father, a village vicar, is barely alive. With Toby returning to the family home in rural Ipswich, struggling with grief and disbelief, Daniel remains in London to substitute for Toby and defend Peter Ward on trial for the sexual assault and murder of a young woman. Daniel is convinced that Ward is innocent, yet the evidence seems to prove otherwise. Eager to assist, his pathologist wife, Miriam Ford Croft, offers her forensic expertise and exposes a community of fellow pathologists who may have purposely omitted information from their autopsy reports. Despite Miriam's involvement in the case, Daniel finds himself distracted by his desire to help Toby, who is too distraught to investigate the attack on his parents. And when the evidence points to Toby's father as the killer of Toby's mother, Daniel faces 2 of the greatest challenges of his young career, proving the innocence of both Peter Ward and Reverend Kittredge. One mistake in London and a blameless man will hang. One mistake in Ipswich and Toby's father will go to prison for life. Oh, it says it was completed by Victoria Zackheim. She didn't quite... Oh, there it is. Yep, author Anne Perry and author Victoria Zackheim. Well, that's a good friend. And Elena says hello to Mary back. Amy says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. And Mary says, the sky is yellow with pollen this morning. Ugh. My allergies would probably be going bonkers. Amy says, that is great, Elena, about the library. Yes. This is the one I've been looking forward to for a year since I finished the last book. This is a series in historical mysteries that I very much recommend. Start at the beginning. This is book number 21 in the Sebastian Sincere series. This is called When the Wolves Are Silent. London, 1816. When a notorious young aristocrat is burned alive on a windswept hill popular with neo-druids, former cavalry officer Sebastian Sincere, Viscount Devlin, finds himself plunged into a murder investigation shadowed by tales of ancient human sacrifices and long-buried secrets. The victim, Marcus Toole, was the only son and heir of a prominent nobleman. His closest friend, Sebastian's own nephew Bayard, claims to have passed out drunk before the attack and remembers nothing. But when Sebastian and his brilliant wife Hero delve deeper into the sordid activities of Bayard and his friends, they come to realize that Bayard may not be as innocent as he pretends. Following a tangled trail that leads from a disaffected former soldier turned highwayman to a beautiful, courageous journalist and a Jamaican-born fencing master with ties to a radical political movement, Sebastian begins to suspect that Bayard and his friends are being targeted in revenge by victims who believe they have no other recourse. Then 2 more of Bayard's friends are killed, their murders staged to echo the ritual sacrifices of the ancient Celts. With the palace shaken by the fear of riots and one horrifying death following another, Sebastian must race to stop a ruthless plot that threatens the lives of innocents and could rip his troubled nation apart. Massacre at Market Middling by P.J. Fitzsimmons, 11th in the Anti-Boisjoli mysteries. I think that's how it's saying it. When Auntie is buncoed into judging a flower show in the twee little town of Market Middling, the chief suspect in a comprehensive nobbling of the competition is found murdered in a room locked from the inside. Almost instantly, Inspector Wittersham is on the scene, but he's investigating an altogether different murder on board a train in, by one of those coincidences that happen every 6 months or so, a compartment that was locked from the inside. Mary says hi to Amy. Amy says, hi, Mary. Hope you don't have allergies. Mary says, I am blessed and it doesn't seem to be affecting me. Whew! Lots of my friends are not so lucky. I didn't used to have allergies until I hit my 40s. Check in, check out, checkmate by Christy T. Dixon, 3rd in the Meg Bramwell Mysteries. When Silver Hollow Library hosts a regional chess tournament, Meg Bramwell expects quiet concentration and polite competition. Instead, large cash prizes and simmering rivalries turn the reading room tense. Players begin complaining of an odd itching sensation, tempers flare, and before the final round can even begin, one competitor collapses. With reputations, money, and secrets on the line, Meg must determine whether the death was an accident or a carefully planned strategy. As suspicion spreads and tensions rise, Meg finds herself drawn deeper into both the mystery and Brian. Because in a game where every move matters, someone is willing to sacrifice far more than a queen. End of that row. The Mayday Murders by Rosie Reed, 13th in the English Village Witch Cozy Mysteries. The Maiden upon Avon Spring Fair should be the perfect place to celebrate a birthday. Maypoles, Morris dancers, and mountains of cake, until the May Queen ends up dead on the village green. For novice witch Evelyn Eldritch, what should have been a cheerful May Day quickly turns into a murder investigation. With 4 suspicious suspects and a death involving a honeybee, Evelyn can't resist buzzing into the mystery, much to the detective Inspector Alex Taylor's dismay. But murder isn't the only surprise waiting for her. A birthday card has arrived in a shower of black glitter from Evelyn's father, the sinister Lord Vilnius, and his birthday wishes come with a threat attached. Thanks, Dad. Can Evelyn catch a killer, outwit a dangerous sorcerer, and still find time for birthday cake? Well, I think your priorities are wrong. Birthday cake. A little frosting. Young people. A Terribly Savage Killing by Anthony Slayton, 3rd in the Mr. Quayle Mysteries. England, 1926. Following the death of the Viscount Featherstone, his closest friends and most hated family descend upon his isolated mansion for the funeral and, more importantly, for the will reading. Among the guests are Featherstone's first and second wives, with their assorted brood of ne'er-do-well children, along with the love of Featherstone's life, the woman he jilted almost 40 years before, Lady Constance. The only trouble is that Featherstone is very much alive, and is not at all pleased to see them, but when someone starts picking the unwanted guests off one by one, Mr. Quayle must race against time not only to save the Unsworth's reputation, but their very lives. What, so did he fake his death? How rude. He's only mostly dead. Volunteer for Murder by Elizabeth Spann Craig, 28th in the Myrtle Clover Cozy Mysteries. When Tippy Chambers signs Myrtle up for a volunteer shift, Myrtle finds herself at Greener Pastures retirement home, helping set up a 1950s sock hop. The party is complete with paper records, poodle skirts, and a paper records, and a volunteer coordinator who speaks to octogenarians as if they're particularly slow preschoolers. Not everyone appreciates the approach. The party ends a bit early when she's found murdered. See, don't talk to people that way. It's difficult to mourn someone no one actually liked, but someone liked her even less than Myrtle did. Now the residents of greener pastures, none of whom are as frail or harmless as they appear, are all looking sideways at each other. With her son Red intent on keeping her out of it and her neighbor Miles intent on keeping his blood pressure down, Myrtle navigates the complex social undercurrents of retirement home life. Old grievances run deep here. Secrets are carefully maintained. When a second death makes clear the killer isn't finished, Myrtle realizes she's been looking in exactly the wrong direction, precisely where someone wanted her looking. In a place full of people who look like someone's grandparent, the hardest part of solving a murder is knowing which grandparent to worry about. Pickleball Can Be Murder by Susan Santangelo. Doesn't say if this is part of a series or not. Every wife has a story. Carol Andrews hates to exercise. Poppy Hollister hates Carol Andrews. When the two have a heated encounter on a local pickleball court and their cars have a too close encounter in the facility parking lot, Poppy retaliates by suing Carol for over $2 million. Now Carol hates Poppy Hollister even more than she hates to exercise. Tension between the two ratchets up even more when Poppy is suspected of murdering her estranged husband and begs Carol for help. The complications keep right on coming in this laugh out loud blah blah blah. Burbage. End of that row. Mary says, believe it or not, later this week, we are going to have 2 days of 95-degree heat. I saw that on the Weather Channel when I was visiting my mom yesterday. That's crazy. Last week we had frost. Crazy, crazy. Going to be a long, hot, dry summer, I fear. Oh, goodness. And Storm says, hey, well, hello, Storm. Mary says, hi, Storm. Good to see you, Stormy. 3 Bengal Kittens by Philip Schott, 4th in the Dr. Bannerman Vet Mysteries. Dr. Peter Bannerman's brother Sam takes in 3 Bengal kittens after the previous owner, his neighbor in a Winnipeg North End apartment building, is found dead. The death was originally thought to be due to an accidental autoerotic asphyxiation, but after investigation, Sam is arrested and charged with his neighbor's murder. Sam suffers from several mental health conditions, but Peter refuses to believe that he is capable of killing someone, so he sets out to prove his innocence. Sam, however, is more concerned about one of the kittens who has gone missing. Yeah, I would be too. With the help of his talented sniffer dog Pippin, Peter tries to find the kitten as well as evidence that someone else murdered the neighbor. Peter talks to the other people in Sam's building, and several appear to be plausible alternative killers. However, by the time Sam, still in custody, begins to rave about ghosts being the real murderers and insists Peter investigate that. Despite not believing in ghosts, not in the slightest, he has a terrifying experience while spending the night in Sam's apartment. The situation rapidly spirals, putting Peter and Pippin in peril, and ultimately revealing a story of revenge served cold from decades ago and continents away. Yeah, but did they find the kitten? Tunnel Vision by Eloise Corvo, 2nd in a Stone's Throw mystery. Autumn in Stone's Throw, Michigan, is filled to the brim with hot apple cider, chunky pumpkins, and chunkin' pumpkins, and football rivalries. The entire town is gearing up for homecoming festivities against rival Hemlock Pond, bringing together old friends and new to the Lake Michigan town. With the support of her loyal and cheeky dog, Martin Short, State Park Ranger Maudie Lorso is determined to keep her head above water. She's running for local office, tending to a burgeoning relationship, and scrounging to keep the park's doors open. Already Trying to mend a rocky relationship with her best friend Eli, things take a darker turn when his childhood friend, State Senator Paige Ramos, wasn't a state senator when they were friends as children, is found dead on his front porch on Halloween night. As secrets surface in old bonds fray, Maudie's not sure who she can trust. One Too Many by R. Franklin James, 7th in the Hollis Morgan Mysteries. Hollis Morgan has accomplished her goal of regaining her status as an acceptable contributor to society. She has overcome her felony conviction for fraud, earned a judicial pardon, and has spent the last few years in climbing the ladder of success in her law firm. She is respected and admired, but when her best friend approaches her with a conspiracy workplace threat, she resorts back to old habits and advises her to fight back. And that's all it says. Nowhere to Run by Diane Harmon, 3rd in the Ivy Hollow Cozy Mysteries. Ivy Harlow, recently divorced, has spent the last 2 years turning her grief into a podcast. Her son Adam was murdered, and when the answers stopped coming from the police, she started finding them herself. It's been slow, with one episode at a time, one lead at a time, from her quiet house in Cedar Bluff, Oklahoma, with her skeptical rescue cat for company. Now that search is pulling her somewhere she never wanted to go back to, Amarillo, the city where she raised Adam, the city where she got the call. A podcast listener tip sends Ivy down there, chasing a lead that unravels before she can grab hold of it, but she's not leaving without checking every thread she hasn't pulled yet, because somewhere in Adam's past is a girl named Emma Reeves, and Emma has been completely off the grid for 2 years. That's not coincidence, that's fear. Meanwhile, Officer Miguel Garcia has his own ghost chasing up to him. Just as he and Ivy are cautiously, carefully figuring out what they might be to each other, his sister is approached in a grocery store by a man with questions about a death, her husband's, that never was supposed to be questioned. Miguel has spent years keeping that secret buried. Now it's walking toward him in the cereal aisle. End of that row. Amy says, hi, Stormy, and says, oh, goody, one set in Oklahoma. Yeah. Plagued by Death by Eliza Levine, 3rd in the Cafe Arcana Mysteries. Passover in Shiloh was supposed to be about matzo, meaning and maybe a little peace and quiet. Instead, it comes with a dead body in a ravine and one very unlucky Easter bunny. When the local high school principal is found murdered during a springtime community event, Shiloh is once again thrown into turmoil. Ava Goldberg wants nothing more than to stay out of it this time. Between running Cafe Arcana, preparing for Passover, and trying to protect her hard-won new life, she's done playing amateur detective. Unfortunately, the prime suspect is someone who doesn't deserve it. As rumors spread and tensions rise, Ava finds herself pulled back into the investigation, whether she likes it or not. With her tarot cards offering more questions than answers, a determined teenager begging for help, and a killer who may already have Ava in their sights, this holiday season is shaping up to be anything but liberating, because in Shiloh, even fresh starts come with baggage, and some secrets are deadly. I think we'll have time for one more. Ghost Trip by Dina Marie. Dina? Clara Kelly is cruising back to Long Island with her Civil War-era ghostly pal, William, riding shotgun, her Shih Tzu buckled in the backseat, and her ghost cat calling dibs on the dashboard. She's headed for a face-off in court where her in-laws are challenging her late husband's estate. But as soon as the judge takes his seat, it's clear the case is stacked against her. When the proceedings break for a few hours, Clara and William detour to a nearby restaurant only to hit a deadly crossroads. A man drops in a conference room, and when his spirit approaches Clara for justice, she realizes she's just been handed another case to argue murder. Now, with time running out before the judge delivers a ruling that could wreck her future, Clara must follow the clues, establish a chain of evidence, and overrule the dangers standing in her way. Can she keep her case on track, solve the crime, and still make it back to court before the final verdict? Let's do one more. Bonnets, Buggies, and Betrayal, 33rd in the Etta Smith Amish Mysteries by Samantha Price. Elderly Amish sisters Eddie and Elsa May refused to believe their dear friend could harm anyone, but with a witness statement and evidence mounting, even Detective Kelly can't ignore what looks obvious. Determined to clear their friend's name, the sisters begin asking questions around their small town. What starts as a simple investigation quickly reveals dark secrets. When their friend suddenly disappears, Eddie and Elsa May find themselves racing against time. Can they untangle the truth before it's too late, or will their loyalty to their friend cost them everything? And we will stop there, because the bell is about to ring. Well, we got through a goodly amount. On Wednesday, we'll look at the thrillers and crime fiction, the darker side. And I don't have any sprints tonight. Stormy, is it you or Sarah tonight? If you're looking to do some sprints. My next sprints are tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We do every Tuesday and Thursday evenings and the Saturday afternoons. Hope you have a good Monday. I'm trying to think. I don't really have anything going on this week outrageously. Just the usual outrage. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. There goes the bell. And be safe, read good books. And as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom. Have a good day and God bless.